just wait a couple of more minutes and then, yeah, it's our last day before spring break, so it won't be that long. So I just want to introduce one more thing. It is interesting if we can look into how to create an animation for a progress bar. So like, any program loading, or if your web page is loading, if um, it's a media intensive web page, so sometimes you have to create those progress bars. So we are going to see how we can simulate a progress bar in Adobe XD.
Okay.
Hi, hi, Meryl.
Hello.
All right. See, a little while ago, I saw Monica in here, but I don't see her. Okay, so I'm just going to start since I'm recording so they can catch up. So I'm not intending to stay very long today, so we'll just do a project, and I'll show you, I was practicing earlier. Let me just share my screen with you. All right. Okay, so I was playing with this earlier, and what I was trying to do over here is to create a progress. It's not a bar, but it's sort of a progress ring. And I'm going to show you how we can do this. In earlier versions, when XT first came out, to do something like this, so you had to create several artboards just to create that animation. But let me just play this, and let's see how this goes. Okay. Oh, I think I was playing with sound over here, so let me turn off the sound. Just to tap. See, why is my progress bar not working? Okay, anyway, so what I'm going to do is forget about this. We are just going to completely make something new rather than going back and fixing this. So I'm just going to create file new, and we'll just do the iPhone. Okay, so we are just starting with scratch. So I would like this to be a black screen. So in appearance, just use black background. And I'm just going to create a ring. This is more going to be like a shadow behind the progress bar. So in order to do this, we need to create, first of all, I'm going to get rid of the fill, and I'm going to create a shadow. And the shadow is going to be So the blurriness, I think I'm just going to increase the blurriness a little bit and bring the Y value down. And if you notice that you can't see the shadow right now because there is opacity involved with the shadow. So this is where you can change the opacity. And I'm just going to make it a little more opaque. And the reason why you are not seeing that, because by default, shadows are always black. But in this case, I want this to be white. Okay. Let's make it a little more opaque. Try minus. Let me just take the border out. This is weird. There we go. So I don't know what it was, but it was just trying to, maybe the computer was slow over here. Okay, anyway, so this is a little too much over here, so I'm going to reduce the blurriness. And change the direction down over here. And change the opacity once again and just bring it down a little bit because I don't want that to be too opaque. And I don't need any fill color in there. For some reason, I do not want any fill. Okay, yeah, that's where I was going wrong. Now it's going to work. Sorry, guys. So fill, once again, I'm not going to use any fill, but border, white, opaque. I think this is one of those days where things are not working. But anyways, we'll try to fix that. So the opaqueness is fine. Normal, let's try screen over here. I'm not sure what's going on over here. So what I'm trying to do is to create a white shadow. If anything, if you're looking over here and if anything comes in your mind, so let me know. Maybe I'm missing something over here. Xcode is fine. Okay, we'll just keep the fill on then and just reduce the opacity, but it should show the border shadow. Okay, so I'm just going to do a different approach then. If it's not working the way I want, then I can just change this. So so this shape, since we have the background black, okay, so I just changed that to background, so this may work a little better. Now I'm just going to go fast from here. So this particular object over here, so once again, you can use these smart guides to place it in the center, but you can also align. So I can align center vertically and align horizontal like that. I'm going to copy this, and rather than just doing copy, so I'm just going to duplicate this shape. So Command D to duplicate. I'm going to reduce this in size. Okay, so I'm using my Option key and the Shift key pressed at the same time while I'm reducing that in size. And now on this particular shape, I'm going to change the Y values. It is 7, so let's say I make it -7. Okay. So just to give a little sense of 3D or depth in here. So if you notice that these are your X and the Y values, and then this is the blurriness. Okay, so if you think that 16 is, so you can reduce that or increase that. In this case, if I increase it, so it gives a little softer effect over here. So I'm just going to use this for right now. I'll just select both the objects together, and I'm going to group them. Command G to group. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is create another ring, which is basically going to be my progress bar. So it's going to be another ring. It's going to have no fill, but the border, I'm just going to make it, let's make it blue. Okay, if you know the exact color, so you can just put in the hex value or the RGB or HSB value. RGB is red, green, and blue, and HSB is, anyone? Hue, saturation, and brightness. Okay. So these are 3 different color models which XD works with. Now, obviously, I need to increase the size. So let's make it about 20 pixels. Size it a little bit. And then, of course, you want to put this in the center. So you can align vertical and horizontal. So it's going to place it right in the center. Okay. Now, next thing I want to do is, since it's going to act as a progress bar, okay, so after you have this selected, so if we come over here where you have the size, I want to make this into a dashed line, okay. So at this point it is 1 pixel, and then I'm just going to increase and see, you know, how big of a dashed line I want. So let's try about 30. Maybe I'll just make it a little larger because just for the sake of time, because more dashes you have, more copies you are going to make. So 60 in my case, but you know, if you want the progress bar to go much smoother, then you may go with the lower number over here. Okay, and as far as the gap is concerned, I'm just going to change the gap to 0. Okay. Okay. Let me just put a larger number over here. So let's try 1000 here. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So dashed 60 and gap is 1000. Okay. So after doing this, another thing I want to do is to change this into a component. Now, component is like symbols. They used to be in Flash, but over here, components do little more than just being symbols. But let's just make a component out of it. So Command K is the shortcut. Okay. Now, component is like, I always give this example of movies like Eddie Murphy movies. Okay. So what is special about, or what is Eddie Murphy famous for? Anyone?
Comedy.
Comedy as well as what? So he can play many different roles in the same movie. There's the same actor playing different roles. So component or symbols are such. So it can be the same symbol, but it can appear on the stage in many different ways. Okay. So, but in this case, we want to copy this symbol or component. I shouldn't say symbol because that's the old terminology over here. So after selecting this, I'm going to just do Command D, okay, to duplicate. And I am going to rotate it. And how much I'm going to rotate? Actually, before I rotate, so let me also do one more thing over here. Remember this symbol over here? I'm also going to make it little rounded edges over here. So after selecting this, so you need to come down here, just like in Illustrator, so you can change the end caps, okay? So right now it is using the butt cap, but over here it's the rounded cap, okay? So round cap, so that's what I want to do, okay? So now this is a component. I can just call it, you can call it a dash or something. All right. So make a duplicate, Command D, duplicate, and I'm going to rotate it 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 is close over here. So yeah, this should be fine. There's a little bit gap, but I'm just going to ignore it for right now. Okay, so if the gap is a little more, then so I do want it to overlap so that it looks a little smooth. Okay, so when I'm rotating, so it is 30 degrees. So how I was able to rotate 10 degrees at a time is I was holding the shift key and then highlighting the number and then using your up or down arrow keys to move that. Okay, so that's going to move in 10 degrees increments. Okay, so same thing I'm going to do quickly. Now make a copy of this or duplicate, Command D, and then 2, 3. Okay, so you select the topmost dash now, Command D, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so basically what we are making over here are keyframes. Okay, so what are keyframes? Keyframes are two static frames in which something changes. Okay, so in this case, we are changing the position of this dash. Okay, so another thing, if you notice, is that the bounding box over here, in one of the corners over here, it has this little diamond. This represents that it's a component. Okay, so it is not just a graphic, but it's a component. And later on, we'll see how we can use the feature of component over here. All right, so once again, so make a copy, Command D, and then, so I'm just going to quickly do this. So while I'm doing this, if anyone has a question, so I just want to take it to, so I can answer that. I'll try to do it as fast as I can. I missed something in here today. This is fine. Okay, anyway. So if you want to close it, that is fine. So now we have all the components necessary for creating the progress bar in here. So at this point, I'm going to copy or duplicate the artboard. Okay, so you click on the artboard. So let's say this is going to be artboard number 1. And we are going to make a copy of this artboard, Command D. Okay, so you click on the artboard to make a copy. And so this is the end result which we want, but over here, okay, so remember the shadow we were doing earlier, so which is in a group. Okay, so let's just call it shadow. Okay, and I'm just going to lock it for right now, and then select all the frames of my progress bar component. I am going to change the rotation back to 0. Okay, so this is where my animation is going to start, and this is where it's going to end. All right, so let's change to prototype. Okay, and I want this artboard to be connected to the next artboard. Okay, and to start with, I'm going to use the trigger tap. Okay, it can be time, it can even be voice. Okay, so in this case, let's just start simple. So when I tap, so this progress bar is going to go over here. All right, so transition, I'm going to choose auto animate. Okay, so duration, duration over here, just going to make it a little longer, 0.6 seconds. Okay. And as far as the easing is concerned, I'm going to use both ease in and out. This works really good. Okay, so this is just going one way. And then if from this screen I have to come back, so I can select this artboard and connect it back over here. Okay, same trigger, same animation type, and duration is same, ease in and ease out is there. Okay, so let's test this out. So I'll go back to the design view. I'm just going to play. Okay, so if I click, so the progress bar goes this way, and if I click again, so it goes the opposite way. Okay. Now, of course, this is going much faster because when I was doing this, so as far as the width of these dashes, if you want to call them dashes, was about 60 pixels, which is just to show you. But again, in order to do this, so to run really smooth and a little slower, so the smaller the dash, the smoother it's going to run. Okay. So in case you are creating something which is going to load um, some components of your website in the background, so in order to delay the process, so you can create a progress bar so that the audience may not get bored by just waiting, so they can just see that there is something happening over there. So sometimes you have to calculate how much time you need for your multimedia components to load in the background. The same type of progress bars you can also see in this when you are trying to stream something and your computer is loading. So at that time you can use this. Anyway, so this is just one example. So this progress bar goes in a circular fashion. You can create a horizontal or vertical, or you can even go even fancy. You can create a little character if you are into animation, or like a little figure running or something, that something is happening. Okay. So so another thing I was trying was, let me just make another copy of this. Command D to copy this, and I'm just going to delete everything from here. And let's see that if this was another screen, so something part of your app or program you're trying to build. Okay, so when the progress bar rotates and it stops in the end, at that time you want to load the next screen. Okay, so in other words, if I go back to prototype, from this screen I have to go from screen number 2 to screen number 3. Okay, so when the progress bar ends, okay, so from here, what can be the trigger? Okay, so what will trigger it to go to the next screen? So we need to come over here. So there's a trigger to drag. Okay, so in this case, if somebody drags their mouse, okay, so you can go to the next screen. Or you can just put a time delay over here. Okay, so maybe wait for 2-3 seconds before it goes to the next screen. You can also attach a key command. Okay, so it can be any key associated with that. So user can press that key. You can have a little notation down here, press the X key to continue or something, okay? Or you can even have voice. Okay, so let's try that. So I was playing with this earlier, so it worked okay. Okay, so voice and the command, what do you want to say? So let's say, I'll just say next, okay. So when this trigger, so what will trigger the transition between this screen number 2 to screen number 3? Let me just change the numbers over here. 2, and then this is screen number 3. Okay, so what will trigger that is the voice, which is going to, if somebody says next, and what will be the action? Okay, so action will be that I want to transition. I'm not going to do auto animate at this point. Okay, and destination is going to be screen number 3. Ease in, ease out is fine. I'll just keep the same duration. So let's see if it works. So in order for this to work, if I play this, you will see a little notation coming up over here. Hold down the space bar while speaking to use voice commands. Okay, so I'm going to press my space bar, next, and it goes to the next screen. Okay, so it's not going to go to the next screen until you press the space bar and say the command. All right, so this is something I was thinking, it will be interesting for you to also learn how to create progress bars. And I'm not sure why it was giving me some issues in my earlier version. But again, XD is still a new program, and you will discover that sometimes, things which you have done correctly, they may not work, and then they will start working for some reason. Anyway, so I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, guys, so if I can get some feedback, so for your projects, and I've asked you to come up with the idea for the final project which we will be doing. So I was looking at your folders. I didn't see anybody submit a proposal. I'm waiting for anyone to jump in. Okay, so you do need to come up with a proposal of what you will be doing. And I was hoping that we can solidify that today, but that's fine. We're just getting into spring break. During spring break, think of what type of a project you would like to do. Just to let you know that it's going to go really fast after the spring break, so we won't have that much time. So think about what kind of a project we want to create, and uh, just stay tuned for an email I will be sending. I will also be giving you some instructions for the final project. I'm still working on them, so probably I will have that ready by end of tomorrow. So we've been really busy at my work these days, so Um, so again, so I will have some instructions, so which will also give you some guidance for your final project. So anyway, as I mentioned before, it's going to be a very short lecture today.
Mhm.
And if you have any questions or concerns or anything, so this will be a good time to talk.
So the final is just like whatever kind of website we want to do. That's what we propose.
Right. Usually I leave that open for my students to come up
Okay.
with the idea, because coming up with the idea is also part of the game. Okay.
Okay.
And that's not easy either. Uh, I didn't. Was it Mario speaking?
No, it was Elise.
No.
Or
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
Myral just said okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So, so basically, this is what we are doing. Again, we are going through some really strange times, and we are all locked inside. And hopefully, you guys are doing fine and staying safe. And they say that uh, the virus thing has not peaked in California yet, so it's going to take another 20 days or something. So hopefully everything stays fine with us. Uh, yeah, try to be as safe as possible, uh, and just practice whatever the authorities are telling us to do, and this thing will pass.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so once again, coming back to uh, our subject, our class. So any questions or anything? So this will be a good time before the spring break.
I had a question. So for the project proposal, what else do you want us to write up? Just the idea?
Yeah, actually, this is what I was thinking. I'll be sending you a template. So that is going to help you how to submit a proposal.
Okay.
Right. So I think that will be good. And also, I'll be sending some more instructions of what will be needed for the final project. Okay. And then just wait for my email in next couple of days. Okay. And Lisa, I do need your email.
Yeah, I'll email you right now.
Okay. Thank you.
It was ACG teacher, right?
Yeah, at Gmail.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right, great, guys. So I'm just going to stop right now. And if you don't have any questions, so I'll let you guys work on your projects, set up your own times. We are not in a lab situation. So again, everyone is free to, work in their own times. If you are someone like me, I like to work after midnight till the morning. So I'm a night person. But I think all the good projects I have done all my life, they were all done, uh, after midnight. But anyway, so that is who I am, and that's how things work for me. So you guys have some leverage over here to set up your own timing and see. And just again, guys, wait for my email, and I'm just hoping everyone stays safe, and it's best for you guys and your families, and and you know pray for me too, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, so I'll let you guys go, and so when we meet again after spring break, class timing will be the same, so 4:30 works for me. So 4:30, and then and we'll I don't think there's anything else to say over here yet. Okay, guys.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wait, so it's in person after spring break?
No. I don't think that school is going to open.
Oh, okay. You're just saying having
Yeah.
like
So
meetings after spring break,
because
same time.
the government has extended the lockdown, and
Okay.
I don't even know what's going to happen. We
That's
hope
crazy.
that it opens, but I don't think it's going to.
All right then. We'll
All
see
right.
what happens.
All right.
I see you. Take care.
All right. Take care, guys.